Hi, Mark. Good to see you here. I appreciate you joining me. And I know it's going to be a fantastic conversation with all the work that you're putting in. You're helping other people. My goal is very simple. I want to provide some value to the people that know me in the Facebook group that we have put it live as well. The idea is we all can use certain knowledge, certain skills, and connections in order to grow our businesses and have a better, fulfilling life. So, Mark, welcome. I would love to have you give a quick introduction about you so people know who you are.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Mark Maiocca. I'm the founder of Core 7 Networking Groups and the author of the book, The Core 7, How to Buy a Home and Secure Your Financial Future at the Same Time. And I'm very, very excited to be on the show and honored. So thank you very much, Minesh.
You're absolutely welcome. So, obviously, I like to get people to start with how did you actually decide to be in this career that you are in today?
So I started as a mortgage originator, but it actually goes back to what drives me is when I was 16 years old, my dad passed away of cancer. And it was very tough on us, very unexpected. My mother gave us a great life, but, it was obviously a big void because we lost everything. We had to sell our home in Newton. She had to sell the business. All totaled probably about $1 million that she had to sell. And the reason was because my dad had no life insurance. So, he passed away. I still hadn't even gone to college. My sister hadn't gone to college. I mean, there was a lot of bills that my mother had to take care of, and it basically took everything. But the ironic part of it is my parents sold insurance for a living. They sold property and casualty insurance, and my mother was in the process of getting her life insurance licenses, in order to do that. So it was just that case of, the cobbler's kids had no shoes. So years later, I become a mortgage originator. I also do that. I've been doing that for 20 years. And my mom used to always talk about how great the mortgage originator she had, how great he was. And I said, Ma, I really don't think he was very good. And she said, why do you say that? And I said, because you bought 2 homes, you did extensive work, and not once did he ever suggest that you talk to a financial advisor or someone to advise you on, proper planning and protecting the asset. And she said something that has always stuck with me. She said, he probably thought we were all set because that's what we did for a living. And, that's where I said, you know what? We can't assume that. We have to have a process where we offer each person the ability to be introduced to their team that's going to protect them in all aspects. And from there, I developed the Core 7 referral system and the process that we teach and we train and we have courses on. And that's how I got into founding Core 7 and having networking groups all over the country for real estate, mortgage, tax, insurance, and financial professionals to not only generate referrals back and forth and time and accountability, but also to provide massive value for their clients.
Yeah, Mark, that's pretty incredible for you to share that with me. And most people take things for granted, right? And it's one of those things. I'm actually just finishing a book called 7 Critical Career Skills They Don't Teach in School, along with my 19-year-old daughter. And one of the areas is money mastery, because those are things like life insurance is pretty foundation, right? I think before you go invest any money, before you talk about getting out of debt, got to have life insurance, because that's one thing you can't control, right? It's like, yeah, you can maybe accumulate some money later, you can pay down the debt, but nobody's guaranteed anything, right? And it's just sad that most of us are not getting educated on the right thing. And I'm glad that you have decided that you are going to help people in every corner of their finances rather than looking at it from just one perspective. And I'll be honest with you, most people I know, they're only thinking of the transaction. Hey, I got paid my commission. Do I have to look for them? Are they financially set in their life? Do they have life insurance? Do they have the right type of life insurance? They just don't think about it.
No,
It's like, oh, it's too inconvenient. I don't want to talk about it. And I got paid.
and the thing with in the mortgage business is there's no requirement for a mortgage originator to introduce a financial advisor in the transaction. They don't have to do it, but it's probably the most important thing because the purchase of a home triggers so many other financial ramifications that you have to take care of. It actually puts more responsibility. Yeah, and I mean, life insurance is, like you said, that's the foundation. I mean, because it's not just about someone dies and you get money. You have to replace that person. You have to replace that person's income. And that was the big thing. I mean, in my parents' business, my father was the salesman. My mother was kind of operations. So they just lost their best salesman all in one swoop. So yeah, it was devastating.
I'm sorry to hear that. And I'm sure you're able to help other families look at it from a different angle. I mean, take a look at the will, right? My father, bless his heart, he didn't create a will before he died. Now, he died at the age of 90. So he had no excuse not to have a will, right? And I kept screaming and yelling at him for 20 years to say, hey, get a will done. I didn't need anything from him. You know what I'm saying? It's like I live in US, he lived in India. I wasn't really concerned about it, but I did know that if he did not have a will, there are going to be some ramifications, right? Family disputes and all that kind of stuff. It's unfortunate, but most people are not looking at down the road, is it? You know what I'm talking about, right? They're not looking at it down the road, and that's one of the reasons. So you came up with this concept where allied financial professionals can support each other in their network to, like you said, referrals, cross whatever education they can provide to each other. So when did you start this? And tell me a little bit about where did you start this?
So I started it just in my mortgage business. You know, I was doing mortgages just like a regular mortgage person, working mostly with real estate agents, getting referrals from realtors. And, you know, I wanted to differentiate myself. And so I wanted to become more of a mortgage planner where I'm providing holistic advice. And for a time, I actually tried to get I had my financial advisor licenses, but it's kind of one of those things like you can't specialize in everything. You can only master one thing. So what I did was I started creating partnerships with realtors, financial advisors, insurance agents, like you said, the estate planning attorney, and I really started learning more about how those businesses work. So I'm able to now do a mortgage for somebody and everybody that we train, and I'm able to say, listen, I'm an expert in mortgages, but I know enough to be dangerous about everything else when it comes to estate planning and insurance. And so what I've done is I've surrounded myself with these professionals in case we need them. So during this process, I may give some referrals. You're under no obligation to use them if you don't want to, but I'd like to refer it if it comes up just to be a valuable resource. And the clients say, yeah, sure, they love it. And it just, you know, I end up getting a lot of business partners because they're like, I want to work with Mark. He's the mortgage originator who gives referrals. But it also makes a difference in the client's life, because what ends up happening is, you know, they buy a house. Now they got to protect the house. They have an estate. They have to, you mentioned the will. That's their voice if they aren't able to talk. You know, even if they don't die, they could be incapacitated. You know, all the wishes that they would have that they can't tell anybody at that time. That's what the will, the healthcare proxy, the durable power of attorney, that's what that stuff does. And and I always tell people, the sooner you get it done, the cheaper it is. because you're younger, you qualify for it. So let's do it. Let's get it done right away. And so not only will it make them wealthier because they'll have the advice and the holistic planning, but it also is cheaper because they're younger. And so as a mortgage originator, we have an incredible opportunity to help people at the probably for their first major financial undertaking, which is buying a home. We're able to get them set up for the rest of their life. Because my parents, when my dad passed away, they were doing really well. They were really starting to, the business was flourishing. They had a second home. They were really starting to, I didn't know anything about money back then, but I started to notice, wow, they're doing pretty well. And then just like that, because they had one hole in their financial picture, they lost everything.
Yeah, well, it's the foundation of the house, right? Life insurance is the foundation of the house. If you don't have life insurance, then it's not going to be as, like you said, it'll be a big hole, right? So thanks for sharing that with me. So now you're in Massachusetts, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So where are your network, these groups?
Well, I'm phasing out a little, kind of phasing out of mortgage origination to focus on Core 7, but there's 108 groups nationwide.
Congratulations. Mhm.
Only about 20 of them actually are filled. We broke up the chapters to 108. So that's all that's available. And the reason I did that was more, I'd rather have Core 7 be a very valuable piece to the professional. Because one of the things we do as Core 7 is we help try to generate introductions to other professionals as well as consumers. And if they're in that zip code, they get introduced to the chapter owner there. So we want it to be really valuable to the membership that we're also providing consistent introductions to, so if you're a mortgage originator and you have the chapter in Rhode Island, like Rhode Island, there's only one chapter available. It's gone. The leader has it and he gets introduced to anyone who comes through our website. So if, realtors, accountants, financial advisors, whoever inquires about the state of Rhode Island, they get introduced to my group owner, John Lucas there, and he gets to talk to basics. So we're basically prospecting for the chapter owners. There's 108 nationwide.
Thanks for letting me know that. Now you have some courses available. Give me a little bit idea of what those courses are and how somebody who is watching, listening can benefit from them.
So the main course is how to create a Core 7 networking group, and that walks you through, how to work the system, all the scripting, all the tools. It gives the assignments on the monthly meetings, what to cover, how to go through the meetings. But we also have other bonus courses that we give to the clients that are in their library. So we have the Core 7 Realtor, the Core 7 Financial Advisor, and the Core 7 Mortgage Originator. Those courses show the process for those professionals from when a referral is received all the way to the annual review. Then we have a little more focused ones where we have loan officer and financial advisor partnerships. It just really focuses on the mortgage originator and the financial advisor. Loan officer realtor partnerships. We have a corporate lunch and learn program, which helps where professionals can go into local companies and become the preferred real estate expert. And it gives all the tools and seminar materials and video training on how to do everything. We have the 30-day mortgage jumpstart. That's more for newer originators or originators who just want to jumpstart their business. It's exactly what to do for the next 30 days. And then we have just a couple ebooks, which is the book of scripts, the written version of how to create a Core 7 networking group. And I'm in the process of just starting to write my second physical book, which is it's an interesting one. It's how to not get divorced before you get married. So
that sounds like a catchy title.
Yeah, just there's some things people don't think of financially that if you talk about it before you got married, you might avoid a lot of fights that are going to happen down the road that are unexpected. And I just think that'd be helpful.
Well, I don't know if it is Think and Grow Rich which says this. I may be, misquoting here. But the most important decision a person makes in life is to choose a spouse.
Yeah.
And I personally believe in it. Totally.
It's probably for support, for, if you're not supported at home, you're not going to be supported anywhere else. I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah, I know somebody who's very successful financially, only 25 years old, going through a divorce. Okay. And again, I don't know the circumstances, I'm not commenting on it, but I'm just saying that it is one devastating issues in life, which whatever you can do to either prevent it, be prepared for it, whatever you want to call that, right? It's hard. So it's one of those tough situations. So I'm glad that you are thinking of providing people some ways of looking at life further down the road than just tomorrow, right? And that's
Divorce is
typically
only growing. It's
Yeah.
only growing. So maybe we can, if that's 60%, maybe we can reverse the process a little bit.
Exactly. I've been married 31 years and I'm glad, that definitely is the foundation for my family. So that really works out to my advantage as well. So two things here. Number one is if there is anybody who wants to know which Core 7 network might be available, where they should go for information for that.
Great question. All you have to do is go to mycore7.com/website.
Okay.
There's a video there that explains what to do. There's a button for the states, but there's also frequently asked questions. There's a lot of free tools on the site that you can download, like fact finders, and get a really good idea of what Core 7 is all about. And you can set up a time to speak with me if you have any specific questions and you want to find out, what's going on. You can absolutely do that.
Good. So who are you looking for as a connection? Anybody that I can recommend that would help you?
I don't like to say it's for everybody because that's like you want to have a niche. So the main people who are involved in Core 7 are realtors, financial advisors, mortgage originators, estate planning attorneys, accountants, insurance professionals, anybody in the real estate and financial fields. But it could also be a consumer that's looking for a Core 7 team, who wants to be with a team that there's 7 professionals that takes a full holistic approach. Not one person, not like one accountant trying to tell you everything to do. They're an expert on taxes. They may know a lot about everything else, but they're not doing it every day. So it's better to have a team that you can always refer to that's accountable to all the other players. So consumers are also can also benefit from going to the site and clicking on the consumer tab, and a lot of free materials that we give away that can help.
Sure, absolutely. I'm sure people will find enough value. And a quick point here, I've started actually from 9 a.m. to 9:15. Sometimes we end up even earlier than 9:15 for people who are serious salespeople who want to join us. And right now it is for free, joining at our Facebook group, the one that you're part of as well, Successful 7-Figure Entrepreneurs. And we focus on prospecting because we believe, and for example, as well, if you don't start the day thinking about prospecting, it is one of those things that will be left aside. I'm a Grant Cardone licensee 10X certified coach, and I use one of his clips during our morning 9 to 9:15, about 3 to 5 minutes, so that people can learn something and they can share in the Facebook group right now. That's what we have available, where they can share how many prospecting touches they will do. It doesn't have to be like a big goal. It could be 1, it could be 100. It doesn't really matter. But what does matter is you're thinking about prospecting as you start the day. And if all you think about, which is the easy part, is to think of it as a one-way. It's like, hey, I just called, I texted, I emailed. Then you don't attach too much emotion to how they responded.
Right.
And that's really the key part about that. So if you know somebody in your team and other people who want to take advantage of it from 9 to 9:15 Eastern time, we'd love to have you there so that those people can create more energy for each other, as well as obviously stay focused on growing their business. Anyway, it's a
Absolutely.
quick point.
Prospecting is the lifeblood of the business. That's the most important thing that you can do. So
Exactly.
that's a great thing that you're doing. Absolutely.
Well, fantastic. Well, what a pleasure, Mark, for our conversation. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you. If there is anything else I can do to support you. And I think we should talk some other time offline from not the recording point of view, where we can actually review some of the groups you might have. Maybe I can refer you somebody who might be of help to you. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.